Welcome to our next session in the series of sessions that we are having. So as always, as with all sessions, I will begin with the questions that I have received, okay, based on what we had discussed in our last class. So we can also start the recording. And so here's the first question that I have got. We were, if you remember, in the last class on Tuesday, we were talking about learning mindset. Okay, we were talking about the importance of thinking about our having a growth mindset and looking at failures as an opportunity to learn. So the first question that I have got is, it says opportunities come from a limited time for a limited time, and if I fail to make the most of those opportunities, then how should I respond to my failures? So thank you very much, whoever has asked this question. Always remember, opportunities will not end. Okay, you are all young kids and you have full life ahead. Okay, so opportunities will keep coming. So even if you meet failure, it is absolutely fine. Ask yourself, reflect on what is it that you can learn, what is it that can be learned from these failures. You and trust that you will have another opportunity knocking on your door very, very soon. So don't get disheartened. Never feel that you have lost an opportunity. Okay, it will come again. So this is again building on what we have been discussing in our last class. You will try, you will fail. That is the reality. This is how life works. Okay, so there is nobody who has been successful without failing. Okay, and trust that the only failure that you will experience or you will have is when you give up. Okay, when you will stop trying. So never, it doesn't matter if you have got an opportunity, you tried, you failed. I always say, and I said this in the last class also, giving up of effort is a problem. Okay, not putting in effort is a problem. Failures are never a problem. Okay, we all, even I have had many failures in my life. Even now, there are many things at which I fail, but it should not stop us from trying. So that is the only thing that I can say. Don't get disheartened, keep trying. The second question, again, we were talking about neuroplasticity as an idea, we said, and we looked at a video, okay, as to how our brains can grow if we try something. So the question that I got was, which type of exercise makes my brain more strong? I have asked this question to many people. They all said, please read the book, do meditation, but I am unable to do this. Please give me some other suggestion. So a very simple suggestion that I can give you, who has asked this question, is do everything and anything that makes you feel happy, that makes you feel comfortable, anything that you are interested in. So pick up a hobby. If you have a hobby, play a sport, play an instrument, sing, dance, whatever. Talk to people. Okay. What we are doing is we are getting our brain to work more and more. So any type of exercise, any type of exercise, any type of activity is stimulating the brain. There was a very nice study. I can give you an example from science and research that has been happening on brain. So there was an experiment that was conducted on rats, on rats. Okay, so it was seen. So what was done was, there were few rats that were kept isolated. Okay, that were kept all alone. They were they were locked up in a room. Okay, they were locked up in a small cabin, and they were all alone. In another sample, in another group, there were rats that were put together, okay, and they could play with each other, they could move around, they could see other. It was found that the brain of the rats that were together, that were just moving around, that they where they had many other rats in that particular confinement, it was found that their brains were heavier, denser, okay, and they were more developed than the rat that was kept all alone. Okay, so what does this experiment teach us? The experiment teaches us that any exercise, any activity is a useful activity. Okay, and if you have some hobby, please pursue it. If you have some friends, talk to them, play with them, do some activities together. That is an exercise of the brain. The only thing is, what we are asking you to do is, and if obviously if you are wanting to pursue something, okay, if you have anything that you want to pursue, just keep trying at it, just keep making efforts again and again, and you will be making your brain more strong. Okay, so any activity is fine, which is stimulating the brain, which is making you think, making you interact, and so on. And then the last question that I got was, many times I give my best efforts, but results come in negative. Then I become frustrated, so I am not able to give values to my effort. Do you have any parameters to measure my effort? Well, I will not suggest any parameters here, but the only parameter that I can give you here is, you are young boys and girls, ask yourself, did I give my best shot at it? Okay, did I make my best effort at that particular thing? Okay, so that's the only statement that I would want you to keep in mind. Honestly, genuinely ask yourself, did I make my best effort at what I tried to do? Okay, and then whether the result comes out in negative or positive, it is fine. It is a learning opportunity. So you have to do the activity to the maximum extent that you can. Okay, so try hard, whatever is possible you do. Okay, so do you have any parameters to measure? Okay, just ask yourself whether I'm trying my best, okay, giving my best shot at it. And I will just like to remind you, do not quit, okay, and that is the growth mindset. That is the learning mindset. Losers quit when they fail. Winners fail until they succeed. So failures are absolutely fine. That's the part of the game that we are playing. That is the part of our lives. We will try a lot of things, we will fail a lot of things. What is actually needed, the secret is, you need to succeed at very few things actually, and that is what will take you forward. Keep failing at a lot of things, and you will, if you face failures, that is fine, and you will also see that with all those failures there will be some successes on the way, and that is really what is needed. You don't need to be successful at a lot of things, just a few things at which you become good at, okay, at which you succeed. That is really something that will carry you forward. So don't worry, okay, don't worry if the results come in negative, okay, don't get frustrated. Look at it as a learning opportunity. Every experience at home, okay, in our previous classes we were talking about personal lives and professional lives. There would be times at home also you will feel frustrated, okay, you will have difficult situations at home. Look at them as learning, look at them as opportunities to make you stronger, bolder, okay, and to carry forward in what you are trying to do, right? So that is where I will stop, and we will come to the next topic, that I want to start, the last thing that I would want to talk to you, and I will start by showing you a picture. How many of you know a horse? Raise your hand. I can see you. I can see a lot of hands going up. Okay. What is a horse? The horse is something that carries you forward, right? And you are riding your horse. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a new acronym, a new understanding, a new meaning of horse. So up till now, what we have talked about looking at ourselves. We had talked about heal, happiness, authenticity, okay, emotions. We had talked about growth mindset. And today I'm going to talk to you about horse. Now, what is HORNSE? Now, there is a lot of research and science again behind this word, and I want you to remember this picture. And I want you, all of you, to be this person who is riding this horse. Okay, so you have to move towards what you have got, towards your goals, riding your own horses. Okay, now what does horse stand for? What does horse stand for? Write it down on your notebooks, pick up your pen, and so we will talk about 4 things today, okay? And I want you to remember horse from here on using these 4 words. The first H of horse stands for hope. Hope, H-O-P-E, hope. The O of horse stands for optimism. And we'll look at each one of these words. We'll try to understand what do they mean. R stands for resilience. Okay, being resilient. And the last SE is called as self-efficacy. Okay, so these 4 ideas, these 4 things is what builds our horse on which we have to ride continuously towards our goal. So what is hope? H stands for having the will and the way. You would have read many stories in your school, will and the way, okay? So I will explain to you today, when we talk about hope, we are essentially saying, first, having the will to reach our goals. Remember, visualize yourself as riding your horse. So the horse needs to know where it is going. Okay, so the horse needs to know what is the goal. What is it that it has to work towards? So the hope talks about the willpower. Okay, willpower to move towards the goal. And the second aspect of hope is being able to find the way. Okay, so the horse just does not need to know what is the goal, but it also needs to understand what is the path, what is the way that it should take to follow or to reach its goal. Okay, so that's the first aspect that we will think about in today's class. The second is optimism. Okay, so optimism is having a positive mindset as we move towards our goal. Okay, so again, imagine yourself riding a horse. You are moving towards a goal. What is optimism? That we will have a positive expectation. We will have a positive mindset that I will be able to reach my goal. Resilience, R. R stands for bouncing back when you meet a failure, bouncing back when you meet an obstacle. Again, visualize yourself riding a horse, and let's say you meet a dead end, you meet a wall, you meet an obstacle, okay, or you fall down from your horse. You don't let go, okay? You don't give up, you get back, you stand up again, bounce back on the horse and start riding the horse again. And the last is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy means having the confidence, belief, self-belief to succeed. Okay, having that belief to that I will be able to reach my end goal. So how confident are you? Confident? We have to be confident of our abilities. We have to be confident about our own selves. Okay, so at this point, let me show you some examples of people who have been very good at riding their horses. Okay, so let us watch a video together and we'll look at some examples of people who rode their horses to achieve their goals. Okay, and there were some many famous examples of people who met many roadblocks, many failures. So this was also one of the questions that you were asking. Well, I meet failures, what should I do? I make my best effort, but it ends up in negative. How should I do? So from now on, visualize yourself riding a horse and you are working towards a goal. Okay, let me actually check if I have shared the audio. Yeah.
After being cut from his high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. He wasn't able to speak until he was almost 4 years old, and his teachers said he would never amount to much.
Okay, so this was a person for whom teachers had said, you are good for nothing. Okay, you would never amount to much.
Was demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't fit for television.
She was not given a good role, okay, or she was actually removed from the role and she was said, you are not fit for this work.
Fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and having no original ideas.
So in the last class, I was talking to you about Mickey Mouse and how many of you know Mickey Mouse. So this person was told that you do not have creative ideas, you lack imagination, okay? And he went on to become the famous creator of Mickey Mouse.
At age 11, he was cut from his team after being diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, which made him smaller in stature than most kids his age.
Okay, so this is about a boy, okay, younger to you all or about the same age, and he was removed from his school team because he had a growth hormone deficiency.
At 30 years old, he was left devastated and depressed after being unceremoniously removed from the company he started. A high school dropout whose personal struggles with drugs and poverty culminated in an unsuccessful suicide attempt.
So this is about a boy who dropped out of high school and He had problems with drugs, with poverty, and he had even thought of committing a suicide. And what did he do?
Suicide attempt. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything and that he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality.
So again, teacher said, you are too stupid to learn anything. Go back home, okay? Go back to your farm, to your field, and maybe you will succeed because of your pleasant personality.
Rejected by Decca Recording Studios, who said, we don't like their sound. They have no future in show business. His first book was rejected by 27 publishers. His fiancée died, failed in business, had a nervous breakdown, and was defeated in 8 elections.
So look at this. He failed in business. He even had a nervous breakdown. He was defeated in as many as 8 elections. What did he do?
If you've never failed, you've never tried anything new.
Okay. I want all of you, maybe write it down in your notebooks. Please write this down in your notebooks. Pick up your pencil, pen. Remember these people, okay? They failed, but they continued to ride their horse. They continued to be on their horses and move right towards their goal. Okay, so if you have never failed, there were questions which were asking, well, I meet failure, it ends up in negative. If you have never failed, you have never tried anything new. Okay, and what I want you to remember from today onwards, we will fail, but we will continue to ride our horse. Okay, we will continue to be on the back of our horses. Our horse will take us to the goal that we want to achieve. Okay, now let us get into an understanding of each of these aspects, okay, in greater detail. What do we mean by hope? Okay, I also brought this example to you. Look at this life story. Rejected for jobs over 30 times, failed 3 times in examinations to get into universities, rejected for a job with police. This man, he went for a job at KFC. Okay, you may know what KFC is, where 24 people had applied, 23 people were selected. He was the only one to be rejected. Applied to Harvard Business School, rejected 10 times. He and his cousin waited for 2 hours in a long queue to be a waiter for a 4-star hotel. Even when his cousin's score was much lower than his cousin was accepted and he was rejected, and he finally took a job as an English teacher. Anybody can guess who this person is? Anyone? This person went on to make one of the biggest e-commerce companies in the world. A person who had been rejected many times. Okay, many times. He today create this big empire. Okay, right. So let us dissect our horse for a few minutes. Okay, let us try to understand what do each of these terms really mean. So the first aspect, okay, and these are words that we use so often in our daily lives. Okay, we keep using, well, I have hope, I should have hope. I am not a hopeful person, etc., etc. What does hope mean? Now, I want to explain to you, hope means the ability to find pathways. Okay, this is very, very important. Ability to find pathways to your desired goals and become motivated to use those pathways. Now, imagine you have a particular goal. Okay, you are having a specific goal. Let's say you want to maybe start a company. Okay, that could be one of your goals. Maybe you want to start a small business in your society. What it essentially means, there has to be a specific goal. So it's okay, so there has to be a specific goal, and then you have the will to work towards that goal. And the third most important thing is you should have the way power. Now, what does way power mean? Way power here means if you have to develop hope, you should have the ability to identify what will be that path, what will be that road that I will take to reach to my desired goal. Okay, so it is not just enough to have a goal in mind. You also have to think about what will be that path. How will you reach that specific goal? Now, when we talk about path, okay, when we talk about the road, it is also possible that you will have obstacles on the way. You will meet roadblocks, okay? You will find difficulty. So you should be able to think about what are the alternate ways. If you meet an obstacle, how would you reach that specific goal? So let me just show you, let me skip a few slides and I will come to these slides in a while. So let us see this example. Say my goal is I want to start a business. This is a trophy that I want to work towards. This is my end goal. It is important. Why do you want to do it? You should know what is the purpose. You should understand what is it that I want to do. So let's say my aim is I want to do something for my family. I want to do something for my society. And therefore, I want to start a business. So that's the goal. You are here today. Now you identify the path that you are going to take. The path that you are going to take to reach your specific goal. What would you do on that path? What would be the steps that you would take towards reaching your end goal? So the first thing is I will have to come up with an idea. I will also have to test it, maybe test it in smaller pockets. I want to understand whether my idea is applicable or not. Then the second thing is, this is maybe it is either you not really conduct, but it should be attending trainings at other institutes. This is a typo here, conducting. So you should start attending trainings at other institutes or other places, whichever place is available. You try to start learning how do you set up the business. Okay, and then finally after 9 months you start a small business. These are the steps you want to take towards your starting of your business. Okay, so this is a goal, then there is a path. But then On your way, remember, if you are riding a horse, your horse may also meet obstacles. Okay, so at this time, when I say you have to come up with an idea, test it, you may find that your idea is not practical. That's an obstacle. It may not have a mark. So this is a roadblock. This is a problem. Okay, this is an obstacle. What do? You don't stop there. You also think about what will be the alternative. How will I overcome that obstacle? So you have to visualize yourself walking towards that goal, walking towards what you want to achieve, the outcome. Also imagine what are the obstacles, what are the possibilities that you may come across, okay, that may actually impact your movement towards the goal. So what do I do if my idea may not be practical? I will talk to friends, my well-wishers. I will take their advice, learn from my mistakes, and also not just learn from mistakes. I will also try to learn from others who have been able to be successful, who have been successful. So I may want to look at my somebody elder who is running a business. I may talk to them about my idea, get their inputs, and refine my idea, and then move forward. Okay. Start attending trainings at other institutes, other places. I may not have the money. I may not have the money to even, if I want to test my idea, I want to implement my idea, I may not have money. So finances could be a big problem. 6 months down the line, how do you do? Talk to friends, school teachers to explore if they can lend money. Start saving and plan finances. Be on a lookout for funding partners. So these are some possibilities, some alternatives that can be possible. So you just don't imagine your path. You just don't imagine your path. You also imagine what could be possible obstacles and what would also be the alternate pathways to move towards my goal. And then the third step could be I decide to set up a small enterprise. 9 months down the line, I want to maybe come together, create my own enterprise. What could be some obstacle? Well, I have just written one of these. There could be many obstacles. It may make losses. It may not work as you expected. Okay. What are the alternatives? You test the idea. Okay. So before you make a loss, you should test. You should spend a lot of time, up till 9 months. Okay. Testing your idea. Go slow and be on the lookout for failure. In case you are thinking it may fail, maybe fail early, fail quickly. Okay. If you fail, maybe improvise, talk to some person who runs a business, and again take their advice, take their guidance in going forward. Okay. So what is this exercise of developing hope? So there are three things that I want to emphasize here. The first is identifying the goal, identifying your final trophy. What is it that you would want to work towards? Okay, with your horse has to move towards something. Then you develop a path. You lay down specific goalposts, specific milestones, specific things that you would want to do towards reaching your goal. Okay, so this is the original path that you would like to take. Then start thinking about what are the possible roadblocks that I may encounter. What are the possible obstacles that I may encounter? Write down the obstacle and also write down what would be my alternate pathway. Again, write down the obstacle, write down how would you overcome, how will your horse overcome that obstacle? How will the third obstacle may also come, how would you overcome? Okay, so that's the exercise of building hope. So from now on, whenever you think about hope as a quality, whenever you think about hope, remind yourself that it talks about the will to achieve your goal, okay, the ability to move towards your goal, and also the ability to identify these pathways that you would want to move towards, or the pathway and not just the original pathway, but also the alternate pathways. Okay, clear? Now, let us do an exercise. All of you, on your notebooks, I want you to develop a sample plan like this. Okay? Develop a sample. Let us do the hope exercise right here and now. Okay, and I am putting this up again. I want you to take a blank sheet of paper. Okay, take a blank sheet of paper. Think about what will be your goal. What is your goal? What will be the path towards working that you will take towards your goal? Okay, and write down what will you do in the next 2 months or 3 months, next 6 months, next 9 months, next year, and so on. Okay, what will be the path? And then what will also be some obstacles that you can imagine as you work towards your goal. Is that okay, everybody? Let us do this. I give you 5 minutes. Think about it. Take 5 minutes. Make some drawings, okay? Make some drawings, make some circles, make some boxes, make some arrows, whatever you want to do. Okay, but try to develop something like this. Write down what would be your obstacles, and can you also think of some alternative? It is absolutely fine if you cannot imagine an alternative right now. Just write down the obstacle. Okay, you may think of some alternatives now. You may also come up with some alternatives later. That is absolutely fine. But start developing a plan like this. Visualize yourself walking towards the goal, and what are some of the obstacles that come to your mind. Okay, anything that comes to your mind, draw it. Do the drawing on your notebooks. That is important. Draw something, write something. Okay, take 2 more minutes. Anything that comes to your mind, don't hesitate. Write anything that comes to your mind. It is absolutely fine. This is your time to write. This is your time to draw your plan. And draw alternatives. Be more hopeful. Become more hopeful. Think about obstacles. Think about alternatives. That is what makes us hopeful. Remember, hope is about thinking about obstacles and thinking about the alternatives. That is what hope is, really. If I can visualize the problems and also how I can overcome them, that will make me more hopeful in life. And that is where the horse starts. H is the hope. Be as creative, as imaginative as you like. Make as many circles, as many boxes. Okay, good. I hope by now you have something written on your papers. Okay, I want you to back today when you go back to your homes, okay? When you go back, don't leave it on your desk. Don't forget it. Keep working on this plan, okay? Keep working on. Remember, hope is about building pathways to my goal. One thing is to have the goal, another thing is to think about the paths that I will take, the path that I'm going to take to move towards my goal. Let us come to the second thing, optimism. Okay, optimism. Let us look at the O of horse. What is optimism? Thinking and believing that things will happen for the good. Okay, positive attribution about succeeding now and in the future, that we will succeed. Now what you have done on your piece of paper, you have planned your goal and the pathway. Now the second thing that I want you to remember is to be an optimist and not a pessimist. Okay, look at the photo, that things can happen for good. So become an optimist. We will start thinking positively. And this statement, okay, look at this statement, live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. Let us have this mindset of being a positivist, okay, of being an optimist. Now, what does an optimist do which is different from a pessimist? Okay, what does an optimist, what makes a person optimistic? What makes a person pessimistic? And I want all the adults listening to me also to understand, how does an optimist look at the world? And this is science. This is what research tells us about optimism and pessimism. When an optimist meets a failure, okay? Remember, we were talking about meeting obstacles on the road. When an optimist meets an obstacle, meets a failure, the optimist believes that this is only temporary. This will pass. Negative experiences won't last forever. Whereas a pessimist thinks that this will last forever. This will last indefinitely. This is permanent. Failures are permanent. Whereas an optimist believes that it is only temporary, and we learned this in our growth mindset class. This is what growth mindset, be an optimist. Okay, so they are saying the same thing. I don't understand this yet. So it is optimism. The second quality of an optimist, okay, is that an optimist looks at the failure as only specific, temporary and an isolated event. It is not universal. So the pessimists say, well, see, I will meet failures at all the things. You met failure at your school, okay, but the pessimist will think that I am a failure at school, I will also be a failure at home, I will also be a failure at my work, I will also be a failure at my business, etc., etc. Universal. Okay, whereas an optimist says, no, it is only a narrow problem. It is not a universal problem. Maybe I'm not good at this specific thing. I will learn it over time, but it does not give me a license to say that I will be unsuccessful or I will be a failure at all the things. So it is only specific, not universal. And the third is, an optimist believes that there are factors that are beyond our control, that give us these failures, okay, bring these obstacles. Okay, all of us in our lives, we have different circumstances that are beyond our control. Remember in our earlier classes, I was telling you how your personal life is at home, how your parents behave towards you, how things are happening around you, that is beyond your control. So remember, at times, you may meet failures because of factors that are beyond your control. But what does a pessimist say? Pessimist believes that I fail, everything is because of me. Okay, my failures are because of me. I am not smart enough. I am not intelligent. I do not have the ability. So, my friends, what I am wanting you to do is remember the O of horse. Your horse cannot be strong if you are not an optimist. If you do not look at failures as temporary, isolated, and things that are beyond your control. Okay, please do not think that failures will be permanent, failures will be universal, and failures are because of you all the time. If you are making your best effort, that is all that is needed. You have to make your best effort. That is it. Okay, then there could be some factors beyond your control that give you that failure, but it is fine. Okay, so an optimist looks at bad events as temporary, isolated, and beyond their control. Whereas a pessimist looks at bad events as permanent, far reaching, and due to their own event. And for good things that are up, if you meet a success, okay, a pessimist, look at how a pessimist looks at a good event or a success. Pessimist says, well, I achieved this success because it was not because of me, but because of something outside. Success is only temporary, success is isolated. Whereas an optimist believes, no, successes are permanent, failures are temporary. They have far-reaching effect, and success is because of my effort. I made that good effort, I made that solid effort, and therefore I am getting this success. So a pessimist looks at a bad event as permanent and a good event as temporary, whereas an optimist looks at a bad event as temporary and a good event as permanent. Okay, so they differ greatly in their way of thinking. Okay, just remember, because you fail once does not mean you are going to fail at everything or at, okay. So to our life plan. So the next thing that I want you to do is go back to your sheets again and write down on the top corner, write down optimism. Okay, everybody write it down, optimism. So I have the goal, I have the pathway now. I have thought about the obstacles, I have thought about the alternatives. The next thing that I want all of you to write down is, I will be optimistic. I will not be a pessimist. I will be an optimist, and what I will do is, I will look at failures only as temporary. Please write down these three words. Failures are temporary and due to factors beyond my control. Okay, write it down. Failures are temporary, isolated, and because of external reasons. They are not permanent, they are not pervasive, and they are not because of personal factors. So I will start to believe that failures can be overcome. Failures can be overcome because they are only isolated and they are due to factors that are beyond my control, and therefore I should not worry about it. I should keep giving my best effort. Okay, so write down optimism. Let us move ahead. Let us go to the R of horse. Okay, now this is where I want you to bring in the idea of resilience and self-belief. Okay, and that is what makes legends. Okay, that is what creates legends. So losers quit when they fail. Winners do not quit. They keep failing until they succeed. So we come to the next aspect, which is the R of the horse, which is resilience. Resilience, okay? Resilience. Being bold and courageous. What is resilience? It is being bold and courageous. To keep bouncing back from adversity and grow stronger and stronger, overcoming negative events. So you don't give up, you have the courage to get up every time there is an adversity that brings you down from your horse. Okay, our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall. Every time we fall, we rise, we get up and get back on our horse. Okay, so that's the third aspect to keep in mind. What is resilience and how do you become resilient? So there are three things to become resilient. Okay, if you have to become courageous and bold facing failures, remember three things. Accept the reality. Okay, don't run away from the reality. Accept the failure as it is. Accept that you have failed. That is fine. We have already talked a lot about it. Face reality. Okay, and I summon up the courage. Have the courage to accept the reality. You have maybe you have personal life, you have a difficult family life, you have a difficult study life, student life. That is fine. Let us accept what it is. The second aspect for being resilient is look for your purpose. Search for meaning. Okay, start looking out for what you want to do. Okay, and I will take you back to this chart. I am taking you again to this chart, okay, which is, yeah, here. What will give you that meaning? That meaning you will get from this trophy. Write it down. That is why I asked you to do this exercise. Write down what is your goal. That is very important. Okay, your goal. Every time you fall, every time you will meet this obstacle, ask yourself, what is it that I am fighting for? What is it that I am fighting for? And that is most important. Because if you don't know where you are going, for what you are putting in all this effort, then every time you will meet an obstacle, you will you will feel, oh, I should give up. I don't know where I am going and so on. So knowing your purpose, this will give you the meaning of your life. That is very important. Search for meaning. And the third is remember the resources available to you. Use the resources available to you. That is why if you see in this chart, I have written talk to friends many times, talk to well-wishers, take their advice, talk to seniors, talk to some people who run businesses, etc., etc. Okay, remember you have resources. You have resources, either personal, that is your own talent, that is your own capability, or you also have some relationships, either at home or at school or at maybe in your society, that you should use to think about how do you overcome the adversity, the obstacle that you have. So my friends, the next thing on the chart, that you have drawn, write down resilience. Resilience. Okay, everybody write it down, resilience. So you have written optimism, now also write resilience. And how will you become resilient? How will you become stronger? How will you become more confident? Remember your purpose. Remember the goals for which you are working. Remember the goal for which you are fighting. Okay, that is extremely important. Have a learning mindset. It is okay. Look at failures only as steps to success. Okay, so remember your purpose, meaning have a learning mindset. Have faith in yourself. Don't give up. Don't give up. And bank on your relationships. So both these aspects that I have written in the third line, trust yourself, that is your own capabilities, and the relationships that you can bank upon. It could be your teachers, it could be friends, it could be people in your society, people at your home, whatever. You have certain resources that you can bank upon to help you, to guide you, okay, when you are doing this, okay, working towards your goal. So please write down the third aspect of horse is resilience. And the last bit is confidence. What is self-efficacy? It is nothing but having belief in your ability to produce what you want to produce. Okay, so it is that self-belief, it is that self-confidence to take on and put in the necessary effort to succeed at challenging tasks. Now, how do you become more confident? Okay, this is what you should ask yourself. How can I become more confident at what I am doing, at what I am trying to do? Okay, how do I become more self-confident? Now, there are 4 specific techniques that I would want to give you, okay, that I want you to maybe keep in mind. Keep in mind, if you want to be more confident about your own self, okay. And the first aspect of building efficacy, first aspect of becoming more confident is remind yourself of mastery experience. So we call this as mastery experience. What does this mean? Remind yourself of your past successes. Each one of you have been blessed with immense potential. Remind yourself of the good things that you have achieved till now, good things that you have done. Remember yourself, remind yourself of your mastery experiences. Next time you feel low on confidence, remind yourself of good things that you have done, you have achieved in your life. Okay, good things, things that you are really good at. Okay, that is what we call as mastery experiences. This is a very, very important way of becoming confident. Everyone, and my request to all teachers listening to me is, please make your students remember the good things, things that they are good at, mastery experiences, our past successes. Our past successes. If you reflect, if you ponder on what are you good at, What have you done well in your life so far? You will feel a lot of confidence to face the challenge that is in front of you. Okay, so that's the first thing, mastery experiences. The second is what we call as vicarious learning. Vicarious learning is, if you look at the chart, I have written here, learn from others. Learn from others, look at others, go attend trainings, go attend lectures, go look at people, work with people who are successful. Look at how they think, look at how they behave, look at how they interact with the world. So vicarious learning means learning from others, looking at others, look at others who are successful and learn from them. Don't look at people who have bad habits. Don't look at people who are not successful. Don't look at people who are pessimists. Don't look at people who cannot do anything by themselves. Rather, look at people who are confident. Learn from others who are successful. Look for people who have been able to do things, who are optimists, who are doing good things. That is a very good way to learn the trick. That is a very good way to be more confident. The third is take feedback. Take feedback. Correct yourself. Improve every day. Remember, I have written, take their advice, learn from mistakes. Okay, talk to people, incorporate their suggestions, and you will see you are improving every day. You will become more confident because there's somebody who's there to correct you. Okay, that is how we build confidence in ourselves. And the last is what we have been talking about so many times during these sessions: reframe negative events as positive. Imagine positive outcomes. Don't imagine bad things will happen. If bad things will happen, good things can also happen. Be more confident that there is a power that will work for you if you are willing to put in your best effort. Do not think that the world is bad and bad things only happen. Good things can also happen, and remember that it is only a state of mind. You have to reframe negative events as positive. Imagine positive outcomes. So, my friends, we will complete our horse now. Okay, we are completing our horse now. Write down self-efficacy. Everybody, write it down on your notebooks. Write down self-efficacy beliefs. That I will be confident as I walk this path. I will become more confident of myself, my ability, as I walk this path. How will I do that? How will I become more efficacious? How will I have more confidence? I will remember my mastery experiences. I will remember the good things, what I am good at. I will remember my past successes. I will learn from others. I will learn from others. I will take feedback. I will take their feedback, incorporate it in my pathway, how I am moving towards my goal. I will incorporate that in my pathway. Okay, and I will imagine positives. I will imagine the positives. I will visualize, I will rethink this. Okay. All right, so this completes our horse. This completes our horse. Now, I want you to take 2 minutes. Okay, I want you to take 2 minutes and complete this chart if you have. Okay, I want to give you 2 more minutes. Think about this chart, anything that you have missed, anything that you would want to write down, complete this, take 2 minutes. Okay. So what is the exercise to strengthen the horse? What is the exercise that we will remember? We will begin by identifying a goal that I would like to accomplish. Okay, it can be one goal or it can be 2 or 3 goals that you would like to accomplish. Write down, when you go back, write down 3 paths. Okay, if you want to write more, if you want to write 2, that is also fine, that you could take towards achieving your goal. Below each step, write an obstacle that could possibly hamper your ability to take the step, and think of an alternate pathway to overcome the obstacle. Think about optimism, resilience, and self-efficacy. Okay, please think about optimism, resilience, and self-efficacy, how to maintain your motivation through the process of goal pursuit. How, when you are walking towards your goal, okay, when you are riding your horse, how will you keep yourself motivated? You will bank on optimism. You remember you are riding on optimism. Remember you are riding on resilience. Remember you are riding on self-efficacy. Okay? And I am recommending this last step. Anybody who is your trusted friend, maybe somebody whom you trust, family member or a friend or anybody outside, talk to them, okay? How can you develop, strengthen your pathways? How can you overcome the obstacles, etc., etc.? Take their advice, take their inputs, and learn from them. Okay, everybody, now let us do a 1 minute meditation. Okay, we will close our eyes, we will sit up straight. Okay, we will close our eyes and we will imagine we will visualize ourselves working towards a goal that we have listed, riding our horse towards the goal that we have identified. Okay, close your eyes and visualize as vividly as you can, as vividly as you can. You have just boarded, you have just got on to a horse and you see your goal in front of you. That is far, the goal is far, but you have some steps that you have listed down. You have listed down some steps. Start walking towards the first step, first milestone on the path. You are riding on your horse. Remember, hope, optimism, resilience, and self-efficacy. You will meet an obstacle. Maybe you will meet an obstacle as you are walking towards your milestone. Remember, hope teaches us to find an alternate pathway, not to get blocked. Hope is that quality that will teach us to find an alternate pathway, not to go back. Optimism reminds us that these obstacles, these failures are temporary. they are isolated, they are not universal. And they are because of things beyond my control. So it is okay. I have to give my best effort. That is it. Failures are only temporary. These obstacles are only temporary. I will find my alternate pathway. I will be resilient. My hour of horse teaches me to be courageous and to stand up every time I fall down. Every time I fall down, I will get up and remember the goal that I am fighting for. I will remember the resources I have, my personal resources, my talent, as well as my friends, my relationships that I can use to help me overcome this adversity. And I will be confident. I will have self-efficacy. I will be self-confident. I will remind myself of my past successes. I am good at things. I have mastery experiences. I will learn from others. I will take feedback and I will learn to imagine positives. Visualize yourself walking towards your goal. Do not stop. Do not stop. Keep walking towards your. Visualize your goal. Visualize the path. If you can visualize your goals and the paths, walking on those paths would be a lot more easier. A lot more easier. Now gently open your eyes and we will stop by reminding ourselves the power of visualization. What we can visualize, we can achieve. That is the power of visualization. I want all of you to listen and see this video.
And do you agree with that comment that you attract what you share?
You attract, not just what you feel, you attract what you feel, what you are, what you attract. What's on your mind,
It's like the law of physics. I don't know how anybody can disagree with that. It's ask any physicist, they'll tell you that it's true.
David Mamet wrote a line in the play Edmund, "Every fear hides a wish," which I think is close to that.
I still am very insecure in so many ways, but I wish I could give that gift to all my fans. You have the freedom to pull the superstar out of
read this
yourself.
line, everybody. You have the freedom to pull the superstar out of yourself. Okay?
You were born to be. We are all born superstars.
When things are going good and you visualize these good things happen, you visualize more good things happen, that's easy. What's not easy to do is when things are going bad.
Okay, what is not easy is when things are going bad, but you still visualize the good stuff. Okay, my friends, I'm asking you to visualize, start visualizing the positives, the good stuff.
Champion Conor McGregor. Conor, you've been dreaming about this moment. You've been talking about this moment. Honestly, though, does it feel the way you thought it would?
Yeah, it does. It feels beautiful. I dreamt this so much, so clearly, so precisely, and so frequently that it has manifested itself into reality. And that's what I'm feeling right now. It's a dream come true.
I would visualize things coming to me that I wanted or whatever.
This was in like 1987, 85,
yeah. And
I
had nothing at that time, so it was like, but it just made me feel better. It made me, at that time, all it really was for me was kind of making me feel better. I would drive home and think, well, I do have these things, and they're out there, I just don't have a hold of them yet, but they're out there.
Okay. So didn't you write yourself a check? I heard that you did. Is that true?
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and I put it in my wallet, and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and deteriorated and stuff, but then just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on, I think it was Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah. So you visualize yourself like... Visualization works if you work hard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't just visualize and then,
okay, so
go eat a sandwich.
visualization, but working hard is equally important.
Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way. It's like, it's water. It wants to move and go around stuff, you know. So for me, I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent the idea that you really can make what you want.
There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. But basically, it all begins with how we choose.
Okay, so it is important to decide how we want to think.
It all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long. And once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life.
Like attracts like. You have to understand, you are a magnet. Whatever you are, that's what you draw to you. If you're negative, you're going to draw negativity. You're positive, you draw positive. You're a kind person, more people are kind to you. So you're like a magnet, you know, and you got to understand something about like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your
my friends, remember this. Please write it down if you like. If you can see it in your mind, and that is what I was trying you to do, and see yourself riding your horse. If you can see it in your mind, one day you will be able to hold it in your hand. The biggest thing is we need to see it. We need to start seeing what is it that we want to work towards. What is the path that we want to take towards reaching that goal? And if you can see it, believe that you also hold it in your hand one day.
This is so true. Joy and depression cannot reside in the same space. Laugh every chance you get. Just bust out laughing, even if it ain't funny. Just laugh.
Okay, so the last thing, keep laughing. Life is harsh, okay? Life is harsh, life is difficult, but don't stop laughing. Enjoy it. Visualization is an important thing. Start, and therefore, I told you in the beginning, go back, look at this sheet of paper on which you have scribbled something today. You have drawn some circles, drawn some boxes, written a few words here and there. You have written hope, you have written optimism, resilience, self-efficacy. Do not forget it. Remember, you have to start visualizing. And if you can start visualizing, things will start manifesting also. Okay? So be very careful of what you think, how you think, and things will happen one day. I will stop here. Thank you. And I wish you a wonderful evening, and go back home, stay safe. and keep laughing. Okay, keep laughing. Don't stop laughing. Whatever life throws at you, just keep laughing.